People are also asking us, what can they do to help? And the Dayton Foundation has already established the Dayton, Oregon District Tragedy Fund. So if you're looking for a way to help, this may be a good option. The money from that fund is going to go directly to the families affected by this tragedy. You can see the information there on your screen. If you're interested in making a donation, we do have a link on our webpage under the story. That is Dayton247now.com. You can also directly mail a check to the Dayton Foundation. The address, 40 North Main Street, Suite 5000, Dayton 45423. You should make the check out to the Dayton, Oregon District Tragedy Fund.
Now we do have new surveillance video just in from outside of the bar. This could be hard for some people to watch here. This is from the time of the shooting. Take a look at that. Parts of the video have been blurred because they are graphic. And of course, this may be disturbing to some viewers. And this is the first time that either of us have really watched this. You see people hunkering down.
Hard to see just how quickly it unfolded. We know that everything transpired in less than 60 seconds, but you can see people literally running for their lives in this video.
Yeah, they're jumping down behind the concrete blocks there, that the concrete planters there along the sidewalk. And you see it's just like any normal Saturday night. Folks just hanging out outside of the bar, just enjoying themselves, maybe taking a break from inside, and then chaos absolutely erupted there. Now,
we've been talking with people who were down in that area. One of them being James Williams. He was outside in Ned Pepper's when the shooting actually started. He shared a video on Facebook of what he saw.
Came up with an AR-15, had a vest on, earmuffs, and just started blowing bullets everywhere. Outside the patio where I was sitting, there was at least 8 dead victims. I don't know how many people they have taken away from other locations. They've taken ambulances of people everywhere. It's awful. I've never seen anything like this before.
And I don't think many people that were down there ever will. And it's something that there's still, again, the motive is what we don't know. But what we do know is at 1:07 a.m., the suspect opened fire outside of Ned Pepper's. The gunman, we're told, was wearing body armor. Police were on scene within 1 minute, less than 60 seconds. That's when they shot and killed the suspect. 10 people confirmed dead, including the shooter. 27 others injured and sent to area hospitals. That shooter has since been identified as 24-year-old Connor Betts from Bellbrook, a Bellbrook High School grad. Now, there's 27 injured and were sent to area hospitals. That shooter, again, identified as Connor Betts.
Now, we do want to take a look at the victims. First one is the shooter's sister, Megan Betts. We also have Monica Brickhouse, Nicholas Kumer, Derek Fudge, Thomas McNicholas, Lois Oglesby, Saeed Salah, and then we also have Logan Turner and Beatrice Warren Curtis. Of course, we're still waiting to learn more about these victims. We're waiting to learn more about the shooter as well. We're going to be having an update coming from Dayton Police here any minute now. We're waiting for that news conference to come from the Dayton Convention Center, where we just heard from them actually speak about an hour ago with local lawmakers, but they promised to be able to provide us maybe some more insight into the actual shooting suspect himself here any minute now.
Yeah, that started at 3 o'clock. That news conference wrapped up around 3:30. They were going back. They were going to debrief, prepare for this news conference, and they'll be out to address us at that time. But again, you can see that podium there, the large amount of microphones just sitting there. All eyes on Dayton today for all the wrong reasons. Again, 10 dead in this Oregon district shooting, many more injured, 27 to be exact. And you talk about the families, the friends, everyone else impacted by this. Those numbers wide-reaching here in our community today.
Yeah, and we have talked with some of the local hospitals. Fortunately, a good number of folks who did have to be taken to the hospital have been treated and released. We were hearing that a large part of the injuries were gunshot wounds, but they happened to the arms and the legs, and they were able to treat them pretty quickly and get them sent home with their families. We do know there are still a few folks, though, that are still in the hospital at this time tonight, and we're hoping to get an update on them eventually here tonight. So, well, here we go. We're going to have another news conference here, the Dayton Convention Center. We have the deputy chief, I believe.
That is actually Chief Beal. It looks
Chief
like
Beal.
Making his first appearance at a news conference today. Prior to this, it has been Deputy Chief Matt Carper out there. So again, it looks like Chief Beal is now here. He'll be, I think, leading this news conference, it appears. He is walking up to that podium right now. Let's listen in.
Yeah, you can see that Senator Sherrod Brown also there on the stage. Benjamin Glassman, who I believe is the
U.S. Attorney.
Yeah, U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Ohio.
That is correct.
Yeah, and then we also have Chief Beal, as you mentioned.
My name is Nan Whaley. Oh, please come on this side. Yeah. And if any of the city commissioners want to come and stand up forward on this side, Okay, my name is Nan Whaley, the mayor of the city of Dayton. I appreciate all of you who've been with us since 7 a.m. this morning. We've had a briefing at 7, 10, 1, 3, and 4 o'clock. And certainly appreciate the work of Dayton Police Department and Chief Beal's team and Chief Beal himself. The Community Police Council, many whom I see standing here behind the cameras, have received this briefing as per is our regular process. And if you could stand on this side, Commissioner Shaw, we are really appreciative of them taking the time, as they always do, regardless of the incident. They come to our community to sit with the police department, to discuss the response. So I'm very grateful for them, because even when there are incidents that don't get any press at all, they are there. And I want to make sure that they know how much the City Commission and the City of Dayton and the Police Department appreciate their leadership. I also want to mention that tonight at 8 p.m. we will be having a vigil at the Oregon District on 5th Street. This is a way that, this is our district, this is our community, and so we will be having a vigil. Everyone is invited to attend and encouraged. I want to recognize everyone who's here of the elected sort. Obviously, Senator Sherrod Brown, appreciate him coming down from Cleveland. Senator Peggy Lehner is here with us today, appreciate her coming. Commissioner Shaw and Mims, who have been here all day just doing whatever needs to be done, as well as Commissioner Fairchild. Just having that support of our community leaders and our state leaders has meant a lot to me personally, and certainly I speak on the behalf of the citizens of Dayton that it means that a lot to them as well. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Chief Beal. This is a pretty typical piece that we do regularly on officer any kind of incident, and certainly I just want to say that the amazing work of the police department and the fire department this past 12 to 15 hours is demonstrated, but I'm really amazed at what they do every single day. This is what they do every single day, and I am so grateful to get to be the mayor of a city with such an outstanding police and fire department. Chief Richard Beal.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'm here to provide an update for what you are well aware is an active shooter that occurred in the Oregon District in the early morning hours of today. A little bit of a timeline. Today at 1:05 a.m., officers were patrolling the Oregon District during bar closing time and heard gunfire. They observed a large crowd running away from this gunfire. The officers immediately advanced toward the gunfire, and within approximately 20 seconds, they engaged a suspect who was actively firing and attempting to enter a crowded liquor establishment. Threat was neutralized in approximately 30 seconds of the suspect firing his first shots. You will now hear one of the 911 calls we received.
We have an active shooter on 5th Street.
Okay, 5th Street and what intersection?
I don't let you know, it's right outside, or on the wall.
Okay, right outside the
Long gun,
wall.
one man, had a bat, multiple shots. Right outside Newcomb. Give up that Newcomb.
Someone got shot there?
I don't know if there was shot. He was shooting in the air. People were running and screaming. Active shooter outside Newcomb. Get a bat, get
Is
a
he
shot.
still shooting right now?
Adult male. Yes. Outside. Do not go outside. Stay inside.
Is he a black male, white male?
Stay inside.
Is he a black male, white male?
I could not tell he had a mask. We ran inside. We're barricading the door.
You're inside the wall cracked.
Currently, I was what was it, Newcomb? Yeah, we're inside Newcomb. He was right outside Newcomb.
Okay, I got the call, okay? Just stay on the phone.
Thank you so much.
Are you at Newcomb
Thank you so much.
Tavern?
We're at Newcomb Tavern, downtown Dayton. Active shooter, adult male, about 5'8", 6 foot, I don't know, 6 foot.
Now you will see a video that was taken inside of one of the shops on 5th Street in the Oregon District. The suspect has been identified as a Connor Stephen Betts. He has a minimal criminal history as an adult. His traffic violations, speed, failure to control, and failure to yield. He was wearing a mask, a bulletproof vest, and hearing protection. He was armed with a .223 caliber-like rifle with 100-round drum magazines. He is 24 years of age and he is deceased. Fatalities from this assault include Lois Oglesby, a black female, 27 years of age; Megan Betts, white female, 22 years of age. She is the suspect's sister. Saeed Saleh, who is a black male, 38 years of age; Derek Fudge, black male, 57 years of age; Logan Turner, white male, 30 years of age; Nicholas Coomer, white male, 27 years of age; Thomas McNichols, black male, 25 years of age; Beatrice Curtis, black female, 36 years of age; Monica Brickhouse, black female, 39 years of age. In addition, there are 27 confirmed victims who were injured and were transported to local hospitals for treatment. Basic overview of this scene, of this entire incident, is now on your screen. In the lower left-hand corner, you see a square. That is the approximate location of the suspect's vehicle that was parked, and then the suspect left and then went on to commit this assault. The rectangular area toward the right side and more center of the diagram is where the suspect fires his first shots and killed his first victim. He then enters onto 5th Street, and then there are 8 other victims killed by the suspect before he is fatally struck at the entrance to Ned Pepper's, which is where the circle designates. This is just the suspect's initial route. So you saw that square block or box that was on the screen saying where he fired his initial shots. This is that area illuminated in the daytime here, and that red arrow is the pathway he took to get to 5th Street. We're now going to show a couple of videos of this event that will show graphic content. They will show police officers engage this individual. They will show multiple shots being fired. We have tried to eliminate any video at this time that shows any victims who were shot. So we'll start with the first video. These are outside of Ned Pepper's. It's a Dayton police officer running on the top of the screen to engage the suspect. See the suspect enter the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. That's him there entering or attempting to enter Ned Pepper's when he is struck multiple times. And he stops there. And there's another video here, a little bit different angle. You see a lot of officers who are entering in from the upper left-hand corner of this screen and begin heading down the roadway there to engage the suspect. Here's one officer there, another officer coming, the patrol rifle. Additional officers responding. Officer with a sergeant with a shotgun. Next is a photographs of the suspect's vehicle, which is a 2007 gray Toyota Corolla. Next is a photo of the firearm used by the suspect. And you see in the lower left-hand corner those double drum magazines which have a capacity of up to 100 rounds. And on the lower right-hand corner, that firearm is identified. The officers involved in the active shooting in this event include Sergeant William Knight, Chad Knight, who came on in 1997, is a more than 20-year veteran. The remaining officers have been on it roughly about 3 years. They include Officer Brian Rolfus, Officer Jeremy Campbell, Officer Vincent Carter, Officer Ryan Nabel, and Officer David Denlinger. We've had extraordinary assistance from many, many different agencies: the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, the Ohio State Patrol, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, represented with us here on stage, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearm, also one of our federal partners joining us here on stage, Sinclair Police Department, University of Dayton Police Department, Five Rivers Metro Parks, Kettering Police Department, Riverside Police Department, Montgomery County's Coroner's Office, Huber Heights Police Department, Montgomery County Prosecutor's Office, Box 21, Red Cross, Bellbrook Police Department, and also the U.S. Attorney of Southwest Ohio has joined us on stage, who have been very supportive and helpful in this investigation, which is ongoing. I'm just going to remind you that we're a little bit more than 12 plus hours into this event, so much is unknown. The Dayton Police Department Homicide Unit will be handling the criminal investigation. Administrative investigation will be conducted by Professional Standards Bureau, and that occurs anytime an officer discharges a firearm. Per police department policy, for the 5 officers and 1 sergeant, we're going to be placed on administrative leave. That is per protocol. We are still asking for assistance in this investigation, notwithstanding the substantial local and federal and even state resources dedicated to this investigation. If there's any information regarding this incident, we request it to be relayed to the Dayton Police Department by calling the tip line at 937-225-6217. There's a family assistance center has been established at the Dayton Convention Center where you are at, and can be contacted directly at 937-333-8430. And for additional information, please follow our Twitter page at Dayton Police. That is the entirety of the presentation at this time, the status of this investigation. Once again, I reiterate, we are very, very early into this investigation. Any suggestion at this time of motive would be irresponsible. We do not have sufficient information to answer the question that everyone wants to know: why? We do not have that answer at this time. We will clearly pursue this investigation to try to understand motivation in this crime, assuming that there is a motivation that's understandable. So that's still before us. We have a lot of evidence to process through, from digital evidence to physical evidence to phone evidence. So much investigation is before us. So we're very early on. This is very basic preliminary information I'm able to provide at this time. With that, I will open up to any questions you may have.
sorry to interrupt you. You may have mentioned this earlier today, but there was a report that while the shooter had his rifle out, someone grabbed the end of the rifle, and so he dropped it and grabbed a handgun and started shooting, continued shooting. Is that true?
We have no information to substantiate that at all.
As far as you know, it was just the rifle and no other gun.
There was a security officer after the suspect was down who removed the rifle from underneath him or the weapon from underneath him. That happened, but I have no information to corroborate what you just mentioned at all.
Chief, I believe you're the guy killed his sister.
We're going to have to do this in orderly fashion.
His sister, the first victim, Chief?
No, she was not the first victim, but she was one of the initial victims. Right as he came out of that alleyway, she and another male who was a companion of the suspect was shot and wounded. So they were victims initially after the first person was shot. So very close proximity.
And your department this afternoon, I believe, with other agencies, served a search warrant out at home out in Belleville. Can you tell us, did you find more weapons and other evidence there, and what type of evidence you may have found that
I can't speak to the evidence that's recovered. We clearly did recover evidence. Much of this we're going to have to examine, so I can't really comment further on that at this time. Okay?
Can you tell us about the gun and where he got it?
Well, there's more than one gun, but I can tell you that particular weapon that you saw was ordered online from Texas, but transferred to the suspect at a local firearms dealer here in this area. There's also a shotgun that was acquired from a local firearms dealer here, two different dealers. But that weapon originated in Texas.
Can you speak to the legality of those weapons or the magazines and
Let me say there's nothing in this individual's history or record that would have precluded him from purchasing that firearm.
Is that magazine illegal, that 100-round magazine?
There is no indication that that is illegal at this time.
Is there anything significant to mentioning the shooter's race?
To mentioning it?
Yeah. Is there any significance to that?
is there a possibility this could be investigated?
I don't think I understand your question. He's a white male.
Yeah, right. Is there any significance to mentioning that?
Like a hate crime?
Right.
We have no evidence to suggest that there's a bias motive in this crime at this time.
Do you know how many shots were fired? How many shots were left in the night?
It is certainly dozens were fired. I don't think we have an absolute count at this point, so I don't want to put a number out there and have it not be accurate, but dozens of rounds were fired.
Chief, you look at the fact that the officers
and how they responded just in terms of the firepower they're up against. Can you describe, just by watching what you were able to see there, describe how you feel watching your officers and how they responded?
Well, I would tell you that what was crucial in their response was the availability of both shotgun and patrol rifle. That was crucial. That was a commitment we made really well over a decade ago, and even added to that inventory since my tenure as chief. I'm in my 12th year now. So recognizing the potential threats that we could face, particularly people wearing ballistic armor, we know we have to have the kind of equipment and weaponry to be able to thwart that. That was pretty crucial in this case, and I'm sorry, I think you had a question.
Was the shooter with his sister prior to the shooting?
Yes. The information we have is they all came in the same vehicle, but they separated at some point.
Was there an altercation in the vehicle before?
No information in that regard. Yes.
How was their family doing? They've lost both their children today.
Well, I think you can imagine this is a nightmare for them, and I think they are struggling, as you can understand.
Have they spoken at all? Have they said?
We've had a chance to have contact with them, yes, we've had.
Any indication that he was influenced by El Paso, the incident out there?
Pardon?
Any indication that he was influenced by the incident in El Paso?
We have no information to suggest that. None at this time.
Have you had a chance to talk to her boyfriend? If he came in the car with them, he knew that this gun and the ballistic vest and all this stuff was in the car?
We had an opportunity to talk to the individual who rode in a vehicle with him. So that is part of our investigation. That's ongoing.
Any information on when the vest was purchased or where that came from?
Yes, we do have that information, but we're not going to release it at this time.
Chief, we're hearing from classmates of his from Belleville
Yeah.
saying when he was in school there, he was suspended for
here because he had a hit list.
Mhm.
Can you confirm any of that? I know the criminal charges were filed.
I can't confirm, and I'm gonna, because it's going to speak to potential motive, right? I mean, that's what people are trying to get to here. There is far too much information that we have to review before we can even begin a conversation about possible motive. And I will not talk about any potential slice of evidence, is value or not at this time. It's just way too early.
Chief, you said there were 2 weapons?
Yes.
So he had a shotgun and an assault rifle on him?
And I'll just reconfirm. We have the shotgun wasn't.
The shotgun was in the vehicle, the assault rifle was...
Yeah, so there are 2 weapons, but one of which was used in the assault.
One he left in the vehicle?
Yes.
That he took to the place with his sister and her friend?
Well, let me just say that those weapons eventually wound up at that location. They separated at some point later in that evening. So what he did during that time that they were no longer together is a question mark in our investigation and something we're going to have to determine.
Was anything found at the house?
I think that question was already asked, and I said we're not going to talk about any evidence at this time.
Around for fire between your officers and this young man.
Yeah, I don't have a number for you right now. We were trying to confirm that. We basically do ballistics checks, so we look for shell casings at the scene. Then we have to match that against magazine capacity and rounds missing, and that's not always a precise comparison. So I don't have a precise number for you at this time.
And all the deceased victims were killed by him and not by the other?
We don't have any reason to believe that any of the persons deceased were shot by other than the assailant at this time.
Was the sister and his companion?
Split up from that car?
Hang on, what's that?
Any time when they may have split up, you said that the suspect didn't...
They did at some point in time. I don't think we have a precise time for that, but clearly it was some point in the evening that they did part ways.
Do you know what time they all arrived together?
I don't have that available to me right now. I mean, I don't have that specific information. So.
Did he shoot at your officers?
Hang on.
Did he shoot at your officers, or was he, killed before?
I don't think we have that known with absolute certainty. There was a vehicle shot early on in that exchange, right as our officers were either engaging or about to engage. So I can't really speak to that precisely.
Was the sister and the companion targeted by the shooter, or were they part of just an indiscriminate shooting?
That's really something we can't tell at this point. It's a question, it's a nagging question, and I just don't have the answer. We're trying to sort through that ourselves.
Did any of the other victims, know the shooter? Did any other victims know the shooter?
Not that I'm aware of.
Can you speak on the significance of that bar? Was there a reason why someone go in?
Not that we're aware of, so we really don't know if that was somehow of importance.
There's a press person over here.
With any of the 27 other victims, are they in critical condition? How are they doing? Are any of them?
We don't have, I think, anything precise on the other 27, do we?
There's been no change.
One critical, one's critical.
Chief, how will this incident change how your department polices that?
Well, it's interesting because we already have a concentration present there just because it's an entertainment venue. We realize a lot of people come to Oregon District. I've been there very recently. So certainly we know a lot of folks will be there, and we have police officers present because of that reason. So will this cause us to evaluate? We will evaluate everything that touches on this incident just to determine whether or not we need to do anything differently. But there were certainly plenty of officers present that acted virtually instantaneously and effectively ended this in 30 seconds.
Can you talk about your officers? You went through the guns that they used, but just the fact that they were able to be there and respond in seconds.
It was crucial. Had this individual made it through the doorway of Ned Pepper's with that level of weaponry, there would have been a catastrophic injury and loss of life. So stopping him before he could get inside there, where you saw all the people they were running in there for protection, was essential in minimizing to the degree we could casualties and deaths from this incident.
Did the shooter have a chance to reload?
I'm not aware of that being the case.
Do you have any information about legally?
They were obtained legally, yes.
Chief, do you have any information that the shooter, the suspect, talked with anyone, spoke to anyone as this was going on?
None, Mike, none.
Now, Megan Betts, she was there with his friend, right? And when she was fatally shot, he wasn't hit at all?
No, he's one of the ones that was injured, transported to the hospital.
One of the 27 injured.
That is correct.
Okay.
What was the suspect wearing? There's reports of a mask, and then there's, when you say body armor, you mean like a bulletproof vest, or was there more?
Yeah, ballistic vest.
And a mask of some sort?
Some sort of a mask, correct.
What kind of a mask?
I don't have that information available.
So just to clarify, the companion, that was the shooter's companion or the sister's companion?
Well, let's say it was one and the same. They all came together. I do want to pause for a minute because I want, like, the FBI has a site that we want to get out publicly. Todd, if you could come join us and introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Todd Wickerham. I'm the FBI special agent in charge for this part of the state. And www.fbi.gov, Dayton shooting, right? So one word, Dayton shooting, after www.fbi.gov/Dayton shooting. And what we can, people can submit there, if they have videos, if they have other social media associated with this shooting that they think would be of value to the investigation, this is where they can go to upload this to get it in the right hands as we're working jointly with Dayton on this investigation.
Thank you. And Ben, do you want to mention anything regarding Department of Justice attention to this matter?
Chief, I just wanted to say on behalf of the United States that the Department of Justice, as you can see, has been working closely.
El Paso, Texas, and Dayton, Ohio, incredible people. I've been through a lot. I just want to also thank the law enforcement in both places. The job they've done is incredible. I also want to congratulate them. I mean, nobody could have done what they've done. This could have been as bad as it was. It could have been so much worse. I just have to thank them. The job they've done is incredible. They were right on the ball in El Paso. They were there so quickly, and in Dayton in less than a minute. Think of the damage he did in such a short period of time. In less than a minute, the law enforcement acted and killed him. And it would have been unbelievable. It was horrible, but it would have been so much worse. It could have been so much worse. I just want to say that these are two incredible places. We love the people. Hate has no place in our country, and we're going to take care of it. I spoke with Attorney General Bill Barr at length. I spoke to Christopher Wray, Director of the FBI. Spoke to the governors, both governors, and we're doing a lot of work. A lot of people are working right now, a lot of law enforcement people and others. Spoke to members of Congress about whatever we can do, and a lot of things are being done right now as we speak. I'll be making a statement tomorrow sometime, but just on behalf of our First Lady and myself, condolences to all. We have to get it stopped. This has been going on for years and years in our country. We have to get it stopped. So thank you very much, and I will be making a statement tomorrow at about 10 o'clock, and I'll see you there. Thank you all very much. You have to talk up. We're talking to a lot of people, and a lot of things are in the works, and a lot of good things. And we have done much more than most administrations, and it's not really not talked about very much, but we've done actually a lot, but perhaps more has to be done. But this is also a mental illness problem. If you look at both of these cases, this is mental illness. These are really people that are very, very seriously mentally ill. So a lot of things are happening. A lot of things are happening right now. And I will see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Thank you.
Does that get into social media?
Yes.
How much was the shooter on your radar? Was he known to you on some?
Not at all. Not at all.
Do we know who the vehicle was registered to?
Is it his vehicle, the sister's vehicle, companion's vehicle?
Do we know who the vehicle's registered? To his father. Yes.
Has something like this happened in Dayton before, or is this
Not this particular type of event, no. No, we've had some multiple casualty shootings, but they weren't what we would describe as an active shooter.
So would this be considered the largest fatality that you've dealt with?
Certainly my tenure.
Is it clear all of the weapons were in the vehicle at some point, or maybe when they split up, if the suspect obtained the other vehicle? Is that clear?
That's what's not known. It's just not known. So we can't say that with precision, whether the weapons were there all the time or after they separated, that's when the person went and got equipment and geared up. We just don't know at this time. We're hoping to determine that.
Those drum magazines carried 100 rounds apiece?
Collectively.
Collectively. In 2 drums?
Correct.
And to your knowledge, under no federal or state statute?
Not that I'm aware of.
Do your officers carry any magnitude of bullets like that, 50 or 100 at a time?
No.
Would there be any use to your officers carrying that many rounds at a time?
I don't even know it's a question. I'm going to kind of speculate here. We carry sufficient, we do have the availability of additional rounds should we need them, and we deploy those in a way that we think makes sense. I'm not going to say what that is. We need to resolve every piece of, certainly evidence, evaluate every piece of evidence that we have now and will receive until the point we believe we have no more evidence to review. And that includes interviewing, whoever we need to interview, that may be able to shed light on this individual's conduct in the recent days, as well as any historical information we think would be important to know that could explain conduct ultimately. So until we have what we think is the known universe of evidence, we're going to keep pursuing this investigation. I just don't know when that's going to be.
The companion said what the plan was for the evening or why they split up at some point?
I don't have the information. And folks, I've told you everything I really can share today. You'll probably ask a lot of questions again I've already answered. That's going to conclude this interview. I appreciate your attention to this matter. I ask you to lift up.
This is an ABC News special report. Now reporting, Tom Yamas.
And good afternoon. We interrupt our programming for this breaking news. President Trump has just made his first comments on camera regarding the back-to-back mass shootings in El Paso and Dayton, Ohio. The president expressing his condolences and thanking police officers. He also said this. Let's take a listen.
Hate has no place in our country, and we're going to take care of it. I spoke with Attorney General Bill Barr at length. I spoke to Christopher Wray, director of the FBI. Spoke to the governors, both governors, and we're doing a lot of work. A lot of people are working right now, a lot of law enforcement people and others. Spoke to members of Congress about whatever we can do, and a lot of things are being done right now as we speak. I'll be making a statement tomorrow sometime, but just on behalf of our First Lady and myself, condolences to all. We have to get it stopped. This has been going on for years and years in our country. We have to get it stopped. So thank you very much, and I will be making a statement tomorrow at about 10 o'clock, and I'll see you there. Thank you all very much.
President Trump addressing the 2 mass shootings there. 29 people have died. Sources have told us that in the El Paso shooting, the alleged gunman told authorities he wanted to, quote, kill as many Mexicans as possible. They are investigating that as domestic terrorism. And the president said he will have much more to say tomorrow around 10 a.m. Eastern. Our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, has been tracking both investigations now. And Pierre, we know at least in one of these cases, racism is at the heart of the case.
It absolutely is, Tom. And I think you see the president reflecting the fact that the early evidence points to the shooter having written a race-filled screed of hate targeting immigrants and talking about how he was engaging in a cultural war to stop, quote, the invasion of Mexicans coming into the United States.
Pierre Thomas for us on those investigations. Pierre, our thanks to you. We will have much more on World News Tonight. David Muir anchors a special edition of this broadcast from El Paso. We'll be breaking down both of these shootings, and for the very latest, always abcnews.com and our app. I'm Tom Yamas in New York. Thanks for watching.
This has been a special report from ABC News.